I'll get started here any second.
Don't push that one.
Yeah, I gotta figure out.
No, hit the red one.
Hit the right Star-Lord message.
Dance off, bro. Me and you.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to The Side Scheme, a podcast about everybody's favorite superhero card game, Marvel Champions. I am one of your hosts. I am BananaCrapshoot, back again after a long time that we needed to ripen as a podcast. And we got some exciting stuff going on here tonight. And with me, as always, is my somewhat perfectly balanced co-host, Tommy of Titan. Tommy, how are you?
I am well. I'm packing on the pounds over here in Jersey and ready to roll here, fattening up, as our guest will tell you.
A guest? Okay, so do you want to introduce our guest? This is
Sure. We have my heterosexual life mate, Scott E.
I'm your wife's sugar daddy. I'm your heterosexual life mate.
Mm-hmm.
I finance your children's presents to you for holidays.
It's true. Thank you, Thomas and Mark, for the Guardians of the Galaxy pack and Marvel Strike Force.
Yep, I support your brothers. I finance your brother's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like, just Bank of Philippi Brothers over here. I mean, literally, I was your bank for your play money for a while, actually.
Look, hey, listen, you buying my friendship is not my issue.
It's. I think it is an issue. This man, this man, I use that term loosely, has cost me thousands of dollars throughout the time that I've known him. He literally pulls me into every single game that I then spend an inordinate amount of money to. The game store that we used to play out of, this game store that was in Berlin, New Jersey, called All Things Fun, when they shut down their Berlin location, they had a frequent buyer program or whatever you would call it. They were tracking how much we spent, and they told us how much we spent. And every single red cent of it is his fault. But hi, I'm Scott.
And I think this all goes back to Star Wars Pogs, right? And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, that's the genesis of it. It was Star Wars pocket models, but pocket models weren't that we would have bought that at Target because they didn't sell that at game stores. I think the first thing we played at All Things Fun was the Bandai Dragon Ball Z card game.
Yep.
Yeah.
The first one.
I'm going to be fair, though. We actually recouped a fair bit of money on that.
Yeah, we did. We made out all right. Those cards held their value.
Because for whatever reason,
well.
that game that nobody ever played, ever, 10 years after it's defunct, the cards are selling for 5 times as much as they were when we originally bought them. So that went into what? Pokemon cards?
Yeah.
Brought that money back in? Yeah. Destiny too?
Yep.
Yeah,
probably.
It's the circle of life and the circle of Tommy ruining my finances.
You're welcome.
That's why I don't have kids, because of him.
That's the only reason?
It's not the only reason. I'm also not dumb.
Wow.
I'm not married, therefore,
So he's safe.
He's safe.
Accidental kids are, probably not the best idea in the world.
Fair enough.
That's fair. All right, we'll get out of extramarital activities and we'll get into some Marvel Champion stuff. So, any games you guys have been playing recently of Marvel Champions? Not of. I know we've all been playing Strike Force.
So much Strike Force.
Thanks, Kennedy Hawk.
Yeah.
God, see, more.
That's not my fault, though.
That's not, it kind of is.
It kind of.
You actually no. You suggested it to me.
Yeah,
you literally. I'll go find the text message.
Okay,
hey,
all right.
You should play this game.
Yeah, but it's tangentially, it's.
Yeah, it didn't originate with you, but still, you're not patient zero, but you're the one that infected me.
All right. Well, I played quite a few games. I got hands on a Doctor Strange pack, and then when I got my Widow from Team Covenant, put them both on the table, played a couple two-handed games. They are just flat out amazing. Widow is better than I thought. I've really only been playing her with leadership at the moment, and Strange is just insane. The Seven Rings of Ragador is the best card for the hero. I know it's weird because it's in an invocation deck, but there's no card that even comes close to the same value as.
Yeah, it's nuts. He's the only character that can like really, I think, supplant Cap.
Yeah, he's insane. I think he's better than. I've only played like 3 games, but I think he's better.
You played games with him when you printed him out.
Yeah, but I didn't have like up to date.
You didn't have. Well, you had the cards that existed then, so you were comparing him into the same environment that you were with Cap, and we found him then that especially in like 3-player games, which is like the ideal play size for some of his abilities, that it was pretty broken.
Yeah, he's insane. He's just freaking. He does everything well. Like not just everything well, he does everything better than most characters. But yeah, he's insane. Widow leadership, very strong. And then I got into a couple Scheme League games, which I can talk about later.
Sounds good. Scott, you got any games you played recently?
Not so much recently. I've been like getting destroyed at work, so I got a chance to sit down and crack open the Widow pack and like quick build a deck, and I put her up against like I think it was like Claw on Expert with one of the harder scenarios. I forget what it was, but she pretty much handled that easily. But at this point of playing, like if you're not beating Expert Claw, even with some of the harder scenario things, like that's a problem. Like most heroes that I'm playing with are able to do that. The exceptions maybe being like She-Hulk sometimes or Thor sometimes, but everybody else handles that pretty well. So that was just where like I started off with her as far as just to like run through the deck.
Hydra there, tough.
Legions of Hydra can be tough. Yeah, you're right. That's a little tougher on some of the other heroes. I don't think I played with Legions of Hydra. I didn't have any issues with her on it. But then again, like part of that's just like ducking Madam Hydra.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't played too many games recently. I played 2 games of Black Widow, 1 Justice, 1 Protection, and she felt really strong. So I look forward to getting more games in with her. But that's really it for games that I've played recently. Do you guys just want to jump into Black Widow in general, since we're already like basically talking about it?
Yeah, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So, where was she on your tier list, Tommy, when you put your tier list article out?
I think I had her at A. So we, to recap, it was S, A, B, and I think just C was the floor. And I had her as a solid A, in my opinion. And I have a limited sample size. Like I said, I've only played her with one aspect in about 4 or 5 games at this point because, spoiler, I did draft her in the Scheme League. But she's just super strong. I think she's very well-rounded. She's fragile, but she has a lot of versatility, a lot of upside. I actually thought that Taskmaster was going to be like too much of a variable for her, especially in Heroic when you're way more likely to see Shadows of the Past. But it hasn't been an issue.
I mean, she does have the innate ability to cancel treacheries with one of her hero cards. So
it's good. It is interesting that and in this situation it doesn't matter, but it has to be the treachery card that she revealed.
Yes.
So that is to note something about that grappling card.
Yep.
But she's good.
But that's going to stop Taskmaster. That'll be able to stop Taskmaster because he's only ever going to come out if she's revealing.
Yes. Exactly.
Right. I think she's, like we said, really strong. I think she has, like, so the good heroes, right? Like what makes Cap so strong, and Doctor Strange and Black Widows, right? They have the 2/2/2 line mostly. Well, Doctor Strange is the one that doesn't, but he has the invocation deck. But they can handle every situation that you will see in the game, and that's what makes her so strong. So there's nothing she can't do well.
And she's doing it right off the bat. As far as her stats, like her preparation cards can take a second, but like also, the fact that you're laying cards on the table means that she can ride out those like easy turns and then ramp up to face the big turns, not just with like what's in her hand, but what she has on the deck, like on the table.
Right.
I will say that Heroic felt. I've played 2 games with her at Heroic. Heroic felt a little challenging for her because, like she builds, but it's in a way that's a little different because as you're building, you're spending your preparations as well. So if you're not actively replenishing your hand with maybe like paying it forward with like an espionage or using your resource cards to play espionage for free, and being able to accelerate your board state, she can get a little like tread water effect going on where you're playing preparations and then you're using them that same during the villain phase, and then all of a sudden you're back to square one and you're like, oh crap, like I'm not actually getting any.
So like to what I was saying, where she can like take advantages of the lulls by building up in them, then to deal with like the high water marks that they're giving you. Since heroic mode doesn't have lulls, she's not getting that chance.
It's rare that there are lulls. Heroic. It is,
and then, but that does, that's an advantage she has over heroes in normal mode, just because some heroes, like, it happens where you just have games where it's like you draw up your like best hand ever, and it's like a turn where like nothing really happens or nothing needs to happen, and you're like, all right, well, cool, I did stuff, but like, there's going to be turns where I need to see some of these other cards because of whatever the villain deck's going to put out to you, especially like when you have reactionary cards like canceling treacheries, and it's like a treachery, like, oh, a minion comes out, and it's like, well, all right, I guess maybe I'll save this to next turn.
Yeah, and it's still not the worst thing. It's like it's an investment. It's going to land, and you are kind of still building in it.
Yeah. Oh no, with her, I'm saying it. She can invest without keeping things in her hand.
Yeah,
which is an advantage over other heroes, where it's like if you want to keep your treachery cancel, you have to not spend it as a resource until you use it.
So no enhanced spider sense would be the direct.
Do you guys think that there's anything like what's her weakness?
9 health is rough.
Yep.
I would say that stands out, but it's not just the fact that it's 9 health. It's the way the 9 health impacts the way she plays, because at 9 health you're going to hit that margin of like, I kind of need to be alter ego here to hide out for a turn much quicker, and almost all of her preparation cards, at least the ones in her kit, are hero action, as well as the leadership is a hero action. So or a hero response or hero interrupt, whatever flavor it is. So by being an alter ego, now a lot of what you've built up to be prepared for things isn't live. Like I know you can't grappling hook when you're an alter ego, so that's now if that Shadows of the Past comes up for you, you're kind of up the creek without a paddle.
That's pretty much in keeping with a lot of heroes, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not thematic, but that's something to be aware of. It is definitely a downside.
It is something you just have to be cognizant of, more so with her sometimes, just like in that what cards are hero, what preparation cards are hero, and what preparation cards are not. Because some of the justice ones are just blanket interrupts.
Yep. Do you guys think she has the strongest pre-constructed deck up till now, not including Strange, because he's not out everywhere yet?
I haven't. I have never played a game with a pre-constructed deck. Maybe I'm a bad person for that reason, but I enjoy deck building way too much.
I mean, looking at her pre-constructed deck, with the exception of like Interrogation Room, it is really strong, and you are including a bunch of cards. I guess Interrogation Room and Surveillance Team, those are both weak cards, but you're including a lot of like she has a lot of preparation cards, so you're getting all those Justice ones. The allies that she has along with her are good, and allies that you would play with her if you were playing a Justice deck anyway. So yeah, I actually think it's one of the stronger pre-constructed decks.
I think I agree with that, and I was including like the ones in like the back of the Learn to Play guide of like the core set.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's definitely the strongest one.
On paper, it looks like it's one of the strongest. I would say that the Cap one would probably be strong because it's Cap and it's leadership, and it's probably just good for those reasons.
Yeah,
Because you really don't even need to play all the leadership cards. You can, as long as you're just digging for the cap 15.
Right. The cap one's good, but some of the cards in it are kind of wonky trying to play them together. From what I remember, because what I've been doing is when I get the hero pack, I play one game with the pre-built deck before I tear it apart, against like Mutagen or something.
I mean, that's pretty fair. Because, like, I mean, if I were, like, from FFG's angle, I'd imagine if I were, like, testing the game, I'd want to play with the pre-constructed decks, and I'd want, like, my playtesters to play with the pre-constructed decks a little bit, just because you are selling that as part of the product.
Right, and I think Caleb, I think it might have been when he was on Critical Encounters, he said that, you know, for they know they have like a much more casual audience, obviously, in a co-op game, and then even like newer people, 2-card games in general, because of the IP, that they wanted the pre-constructed decks to be playable out of the box, obviously, for brand new players that don't want a deck build. So I think that's fair on your part.
Yeah, it's just the type of thing, like, if you're going to bill it as a feature of your product, it needs to work, because if you say that we give you a pre-constructed deck and they're terrible and they're just not fun, then you've actually like hurt your product more than just not saying that they're pre-constructed decks.
Almost like selling a starter deck that you have to buy like 4 booster packs to play with.
Yeah, that's a typical FFG thing. It's just like don't upsell a feature if that feature doesn't actually function. Right. Then you've drawn attention to the fact that it doesn't work.
Yep, that's fair. Anything else on Black Widow or pre-constructed decks?
She did give Justice a fair bit of boost. Like, Justice really needed that. Doing these draft leagues and often getting shafted with Justice because I, for whatever reason, was getting like first or second pick. Meaning that when it came back around to me, I was typically getting the dredges of the aspects. Justice prior to this pack was a little rough.
Yep, I agree.
You just were playing some bad cards, and then even like the aggression cards, like counterattack, that's a cool card, and that's definitely a card that, like, down the line with some heroes that have like big health pools, or maybe like play really into the retaliate angle, or just don't mind taking big giant swings, you could just like let the villain hit you for however much damage, good. And just be like, all right, sure, man, you want to punch me for 10? Like, all right, Rhino, charge at me, come at me, bro.
Yeah, because you're dead.
Yeah, you're gonna kill yourself. I think that would be cool. Like, you could even leverage that with someone like, I guess, Hulk, because his health pool's pretty high. Maybe even She-Hulk, because her health pool's pretty high. But if they ever come out with like another character that specializes in just absorbing damage, not necessarily blocking anything with armor, like we've seen some of our more defensive characters, but if they just have a character that's like, I have a ton of health, and then I can heal damage off myself to basically mitigate that way, this is a fantastic card.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think her pack did a lot for the Justice pool in general. I agree with that. But I mean, it was the last pack to get more cards, so everybody's been playing the same core set Justice cards for plus the. I mean, we got a couple extra in some of the other packs, but
some of them weren't good.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is the weakest out of the 4 aspect preparation cards that we got in this? So between defensive stance, rapid response, counterattack, and then I guess spycraft, or even counterintelligence, but like, yeah, those 5.
The one that cancels the boost, I think, might be the weakest in my opinion. But I've heard a lot of people talk about the protection one being really strong, and I don't feel like it's that great of a value.
2 for 3, yeah, 2 for 3 seems not good.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like. I mean, if you're playing Widow and you're going to get the extra 1 ping, then it's a 2 for 4.
Well, if you're playing Widow, you're taking every preparation card that you can fit in your deck.
Yeah, but I just don't see that card getting played outside of the Widow deck.
Yeah, it's a rough one because 2 for 3 defensively is not so good.
Yeah, not when you have zeros for like backflip and shield block. And then even the Captain Marvel one, doesn't that reduce by 3? Isn't there forget what it's called.
Yeah, it's one of the cards that barely.
The flight one.
Yeah, it's the one. If you have flight, you can do something. You get defense, or it can reduce by 3. Yeah, I mean, but those are signature cards, so those should be better.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I could like defensive stance. I could see it if you're playing a deck that is designed around tanking, like just being obnoxiously tanky. I could see throwing in there because it's not like, while we're saying it's not the best value, it's not on like the wrong side of value. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not efficient, but it's not like comically inefficient. Where, what are you doing playing it?
Well, I think
It's not invincible.
It's not invincible.
I think it's definitely the weakest of
invulnerable.
the off aspect preparation cards.
Yeah, because rapid response is nuts. Counterattack, we just mentioned, is nuts. And then both of the Justice ones have strong effects.
So were we not counting the basic ones? Is that my bad?
Yeah, I kind of don't count those.
Then I'm definitely going defensive.
Yeah, because what is it? Counterintelligence and spycraft, right?
You have Espionage, which is like
That one's the draw on the surge.
It's the surge. That's not
good.
Yeah, it definitely in some scenarios that's good.
Again, with Widow, if you have the gauntlets that can just play it for free, or the ability to draw a card back with Natasha, it just feeds the machine. It's a good card for her. Plus, she's the spy all the time, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I still think it's defensive stance, even if you include the basics. Just because there's so many other cards that give you more value than that, even in protection.
There's just so few times you want to actually cancel the boost. What is it? Target acquired, cancel the card's boost ability? Like, how often is that a thing?
I mean, it's only good with Black Widow.
I mean, it's going to bail you out for the task. That's it.
Yeah. So if you're stuck in Alter Ego when you get Shadows of the Past, then you target acquired that Taskmaster.
Better start digging for target acquired.
The one you have in there. But yeah, I'm looking at the rest of the cards. Man, those two allies, Coulson and Quake, they're so good.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
All right, you guys got anything else? You want to talk about Quinn Carrier?
Why isn't Quake Inhuman? Wait, did they make her Inhuman in the comics?
Thought they did. But
I think they retconned it, so maybe that makes sense why they didn't. Like, not retconned it, but like kind of added it.
Yeah, they made it line up with the show, if I remember correctly. Alrighty, so I guess we'll move on from Black Widow. And can you guys hear that squeaking?
Yeah, is that a cat?
That's my dog playing with a toy.
Okay, it sounded like a very small kitten.
Yes, they can hear the dog.
You ready for another bout?
What, you getting sleepy?
I just put a soundbite in there. It's good.
oh, nice.
You want to talk about the Scheme League?
Yeah, you want me to go back to season 2, right?
Well,
You guys
we
are
had.
fine.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't
kept-
podcasted since it ended.
Yeah, and luckily we have the champion of season 2 on cast tonight. Our illustrious host BananaCrapshoot was victorious in Scheme League season 2. In that league, we had, just as a reminder, it was a 4-round draft. Each player picked 2 heroes, 2 aspects. Played 3 games. You had to use 1 hero, 1 aspect for the first game, the other hero, the other aspect for the second game, and then the third game was a 2-handed game. And we had 12 participants, so we broke it up into 2 divisions. And Banana represented the Doom division in the finals, and from the Titan division we had D-House, who was championing his Black Panther aggression deck. And I think you both were using Black Panther aggression as one of your heroes, correct?
Yeah, we both had Black Panther aggression. I think our decks were like 8 cards off.
Yeah. So you guys met in the finals and played the tiebreaker game, and you were able to smash Ultron in, I think, 3 less rounds than D-House. I think you did it in 7 and he did it in 10, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And so you were the champion for that league.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any words? So basically, since there's really no competitions, like I said before, Jack was the reigning world champion. The pseudo world champion for this game. Now you are the world champion of the game. I'm just the hype man.
So
you are a world champion.
Was it the same tiebreaker that we used for the first one?
Yep.
And what? I guess I guess that's in line with because I know Kennedy was playing Black Panther Aggression for that, and I think he beat Ultron in about that same amount of time.
Yeah, I think he was in that. I think Kennedy was like 8 or 9. I think Banana was real fast. 7 seemed quick.
I had Cap Justice and Black Panther Aggression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a 2-player game too, so that's going to definitely skew the number a little bit.
Yeah, and Black Panther, I took down. It was Ultron, right?
Yes.
Was the tiebreaker? I took Ultron down in 1 round because I drew off a Hall of Heroes. I drew off of Golden City and had just this huge ridiculous hand where I could play 4 Wakanda Forevers, and just melt Ultron, the 1 round.
Yep, that's what he does. He's another one that counterattack. Oh, it's so good with him because he can heal every turn with that vibranium suit. So there are turns where you're just I'm just going to soak damage. So I know I'm going to have it to swap with the 4 Wakanda Forevers.
Yeah, he definitely fits in that vein with that type of he has a decent enough health pool where he can take some big hits and then he gets the damage off of himself. So it's not he minds the fact that you just threw a ton of damage his way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if we would have had the Black Widow pool available, the Battle Furies I had would have been counterattack instead.
Yeah. That seems like a natural fit.
Battle Fury can be nice for actually getting some damage on you because occasionally you don't have damage to move.
Right.
That's a good problem to have.
But our first game was against Rhino with Goblin gimmicks.
Yep.
And that's first
Heroic
of all,
Rhino.
Yeah. And I almost lost. I played Cap Justice into that one, and I would have lost, but I had the Cap's helmet to save me.
Oh wow!
And then I was able to get Rhino the rest of the way down the next game, or the next round, rather. So, yeah, I was, by the skin of my teeth, beat that Rhino game. But yeah.
I lost a Rhino in that because I literally ate this game twice. I ate 2 of them. 2 attacks right after another. Because that's what happens in Rock.
Yeah, a lot more often.
It happens.
And then we did Risky Business, and that Black Panther Aggression was solid into it. It was a longer grind because I didn't get set up that quickly, but it wasn't overly difficult even on Heroic. Now, I forget what the 2-player game was.
It was Mutagen, Expert Mutagen. Because I tried to keep that Goblin theme, Spider-Man, Streets of New York theme.
With Doomsday Chair, right?
Yep, with Doomsday.
Right, and I never saw MODOK or Doomsday Chair. Neither of them came into play.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're
lying under your lucky star. That.
Yeah. So, because that Mutagen formula is that deck is so thick already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
That deck is easier to not see stuff, versus Claw, whose deck is smaller and cycles a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that Mutagen, yeah, MODOK and Doomsday Chair, but neither of them came into play as encounter cards or anything. They never hit the table in a capacity that messed me up. So yeah, that was Game League 2.
Champion BananaCrapshoot, looking to repeat this season.
I got to get my games in first. I don't know when I don't know when I'm getting the games in.
I guess, do you want to just roll into Season 3?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Season 3. We're mixing it up a little bit this year, or this season, this month, I guess it would be. We're gonna do. We decided we were gonna switch it up and do 2-player games. So you picked a partner for the draft, and you drafted with your partner as one team. Again, it was a 4-round draft, 2 heroes, 2 aspects. You cannot have select the same hero twice. And we had 6 teams enter the draft, so a total of 12 players. And then we drafted like that. We're having 3 rounds again for or 3 games for the league schedule. The first game is Wrecking Crew, Heroic 1. The second game, Claw, Heroic 1, and then the third game is Expert Ultron, and I think it's Power Drain is the module that we selected for that. So we're trying to keep it pretty difficult. Is it Mutagen?
It's Legions of Hydra. With
Legions.
Ultron.
Ultron Legions of Hydra. So it's it's not fun. That's Expert, not Heroic, to clarify. But we decided you can talk to your partner. You could use TTS, Octagon, play over Skype, Discord, whatever.
Play by mail.
Yeah, play by mail. Just take a picture and turn it into a postcard, write on the back what you did, and send it to your partner.
I used to play Access and Allies, the board game, as like a teenager over email. You'd be playing like one game for like 7 months.
That's kind of sad.
It was like 2001.
2001, man. Just ride your bike to your friend's house.
Well, it's also that was just like a side thing to do.
That's fair.
Nobody wants to play Access and Allies with me. When was the last time we played Access and Allies, Tommy? Like 9 years ago.
God, I can't take a dump without someone to interrupt.
That's a good point.
So anyway, Scheme Season 3.
Did it take longer for the dial-up to connect to the internet than it did to actually send the email?
No, so my father is in IT, so we've always had we were the first people I was the first person that I knew to have the internet at all, back when it was, or even have a computer in their house, back when you couldn't really do anything on the internet except play these RPGs that were basically done in Word, not even a Word, in Notepad, the halls that you walk down were just put up a Notepad. So we always had the fastest internet possible available because my dad needed it for work. So I guess we had cable internet back in 2001, and nobody had that. So I could download so much on Napster.
All right, sorry, Tommy.
No, it's okay. That was worth the tangent. So we went over the schedule. The teams that we came up with were the San Fran Scheme Co. 40 winners. Yeah.
That's a mouthful.
Which is Drop It Like It's Hot, one of his friends. And then we have the the Marvel Champions Monthly podcast. We have the Discard the Reroll. We have the Ketchup Lads. So Marvel Champions Monthly podcast is Kennedy Hawk and Americana. The Ketchup Lads is Jack, Just Jack, and Scuttlebutt. Discard the Reroll is our very own BananaCrapshoot. Who's your partner for this?
Handlebar.
The Jedi Trials, which is the throwback of D-House and the Rebel Spy from the Star Wars Destiny days. Pretty much 50% of our league.
Yeah.
And then my brother and I, Shane, are the Twin Sons of Titan.
Yeah, that name's so on the nose. You guys just it's no
it was
creative.
meant to be. That's Scott, leave us alone.
Yeah.
So the draft order. What was the draft order?
I got it.
You got the draft order.
the San Fran Scheme Co. 40 winners drafting in the first slot. The Twin Sons of Titan in the second spot. Following up, you have Jedi Trials. Spot 4 is the Marvel Champions Monthly podcast. Is that what that means, MP?
Yep.
Yeah,
5, you know me.
You have the Ketchup Lads. And then finishing up at 6, Discard to Reroll. Is that Discard to Reroll?
Yep. D2R.
Yeah, discard to Reroll.
Mm-hmm.
I did not participate in this league because work sucks. So they asked me to, provide some grades for the drafts.
We thought it would be entertaining to have some sort of grade or just barometer, some
Yeah,
bar to meet.
a
You know
little
what?
non-biased commentary on the preliminaries and see how it stacks up at the end. See how close I'm.
Well, I mean,
Who better than Scott for that? And let me
Yeah.
tell you, he delivered in our Discord when he ranted.
I did the first 2 rounds. I probably still need to do the third and fourth. I'll do a write up for. I'll write those up to put it in the Discord for everybody to laugh at. But we'll touch on them a little bit here.
It was hands down my favorite part of Team League ever. Was just reading your grade. It was priceless.
So to do this, when Tommy asked, I went without looking at. I just looked at the draft rules. I didn't look at what they had drafted, and I essentially just wrote down what I thought each pick would be. That way I had a frame of reference for when picks occurred that were not what I expected. That way I could make fun of people for that, or just take a look at what was going on and see all right, that makes sense, or that doesn't make sense, or anything like that. So do we want to just go through the draft?
Yeah, I'm
Let's do it.
Love that.
First pick, and this is a no-brainer. It's Captain America. He is Captain America. He's first team, all Captain American, blue chip, all-star, Hall of Fame, whatever you want to say. He's clearly the best character that's out now. If he wasn't the first pick.
We also need to clarify. Each hero is in the pool twice.
Yes.
Each aspect is in the pool 3 times.
Yes.
So 2 Captain Americas can be drafted throughout all 4 rounds.
Yep. So obviously
3
he's got to be the
leadership.
first pick. Obviously he's got to be the first pick. Second pick, Black Widow. So we've already got a curveball. This was obviously my first 2 picks was going to be Cap. Now, I want to say with Black Widow, it's not that the pick is wrong, but it's also not right. You know what I mean? Cap's definitely the better character. And Cap was available here. But I can understand why Widow was chosen. Novelty factor. And then she is, quite good. So it's not as if it's a true flyer. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'll take the grade. Yeah, that was me and Shane picking Black Widow.
Yeah. And then you got your Jedi Trials. They're coming with another Black Widow. Same applies here. Like I said, it's not right, but it's not wrong. And that made it so the Marvel Champions Podcast Monthly MCMP, yeah, you know me, they got the steal of the draft in the second Captain America at pick 4. This just fell into their laps. I'm sure that they didn't necessarily expect it to fall into their laps. They probably were expecting to draft Black Widow in this spot, but, you got to take what you're given. And if 2 teams in front of you want to, make the mistake of not taking Cap, take him at 4. So obviously I gave this a higher grade than the Cap America at 1 because, you're getting him 3 picks later. Just great value. Then we have the Ketchup Lads.
Here it is.
I don't know which one of them made this pick. I don't know if they consulted with each other with this pick. I don't know if at the time they weren't undergoing some sort of medical emergency.
An ant
a stroke,
has no quarrel with a boot.
Spontaneous memory loss. It's maybe the ketchup leached into their brains and just caused them to malfunction in that moment. Because they picked Thor. Pick number 5 in the draft. Every hero available with the exception of Captain America and Black Widow, and they picked Thor. This is a bad pick for 9 different reasons. 1, Thor could have been the last pick. It could have been their last round pick. He would have still been there, 100% guaranteed. Nobody's drafting Thor twice in this league. So why take him first?
Medical emergency.
It's got to be something. I don't know what it is. Just maybe Brian has a vendetta against Jack, and he just really wanted to stick it to him. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe one of Jack's dogs accidentally hit the keyboard as he was searching for his gift to put his pick out there, and it just came up as Thor. Those are all more logical explanations than them actually purposely picking Thor. Thor's okay, but he's not very good. He's certainly not any better than any of the other heroes in the game. He might be the second worst hero in the game. He was going to be available round 4. They could have picked anything else here. They could have, if they wanted to go off the grid with this pick, they should have picked an aspect here. Really kind of gone crazy and just been yeah, no, we know we're going to get the heroes we want. We know we can get Thor on the back, but we're just we're going to take an aspect here. No, instead they picked Thor at 5, thus kind of screwing up the entire draft. It was like your dad, Tommy, before he actually started paying attention to fantasy football.
Or just drafted John Cena every year.
Yeah, where your dad would just draft, like, if you drafted behind Mr. Philippi, you knew that you were going to get a pick that you had no right getting. But he's since changed his ways, so it's not now he's not just feeding the people behind him. All right, so pick 6, discard to reroll. This one is an interesting position because this is one of the areas where I think a draft of this size and in this function, I think kind of like breaks down in these 5 to 6 pick range. So like a snake draft where you go 1 through 6 and then 6 drafts again, 7, and then you go back up the list. It works because you assume that you have, like, say, an equal number of A's, an equal number of B's, an equal number of C's, and that, like, pick number 1, yeah, they're going to get an A draft pick in their first pick, but then when it comes back around to them, they get a C. All right, so you balance out together, you're at a B. Well, pick 6, they're going to get 2 B's. Balance out together, you got a B. That way you have, like, some level of parity, and that's why the snake draft thing works. It doesn't work when one of the areas has, like, way more options. So I think right now with Marvel Champions, you have a few characters that would be in, like, that S or A tier, but then you have a decent chunk of characters in that B tier. So really, there's no advantage to being pick 6 and getting to pick twice, because odds are someone at, like, pick 1 or 2 is also going to get one of the heroes that you also drafted. So now they're just sitting with, like, a higher pick, a Captain America or a Black Widow, and then one of your Bs. So it kind of hurts and doesn't even out that way. So I think teams 5 and 6, 5 notwithstanding their paint chips or huffing paint, whatever they wanted to do, I think they were a little bit in no man's land, so can't really fault anything that Team 6 ended up picking. They went with Black Panther, which he's proven very strong. We've seen him used in these draft leagues by various people to great effect, especially if you can get aggression as an aspect. And since there are 3 of each aspect, odds are they can get that if that's really what they're targeting. And then they come back around for their 7th pick and they take Iron Man. I'd say Black Panther, Iron Man, and Captain Marvel are all in that B tier as far as characters. So any of those 3 are expected and predictable picks here, and they decided they wanted Black Panther and Iron Man. I think maybe that's a pretty decent pairing, because Black Panther's he can start impacting the board with his stats immediately, even if it takes him a second to gear up, while Iron Man gears up. But there could be a weakness in that pairing because they both could take a second to get the cards they need on the table. Do you guys think that's a pretty fair take on that
Yep.
pairing?
That's what I had last season, and that was my trouble. Was it if Panther and if one of them didn't gear up quickly, you were.
And that's especially true in Heroic. I think Iron Man can be a little bit more of a liability in Heroic because things are coming at you quicker.
Yep.
All right, moving back up to the Ketchup Lads. Whatever they pick here now is irrelevant because Thor has completely screwed them for the entire draft. So I go into their pick. I go before even looking. I'm like, all right, well, whatever they've picked now is it's immediately drugged down by the anchor that is Thor as the first pick. So immediately I'm basically like, anything they pick is fine, except Iron Man, because now they have a character that's going to take a second to get into the game, paired with a character that can't thwart at all. They're starting the game in a deep hole because Iron Man is going to be in Tony Stark mode for the first round, meaning the villain is going to scheme at least once, and they've got a character that can't do anything about any threat that's placed on in the initial turns. You better hope you're sitting in the arc reactor with Iron Man. You better hope that he's getting to thwart twice in a turn, because if he isn't, even if he's in the suit, you're in trouble. So somehow they compounded it. Maybe Brian took Thor just to screw over Jack because he knew Jack would want to take Iron Man at 2. Maybe that's what happened. I hope that's what happened. At least that's, there's a thought process there.
So Jack just told Brian to draft whatever he wanted. Was exactly what happened.
That's a likely story from Jack. Jack likes to disparage Brian very frequently. Some cases are pending. Others have been dismissed. Others have been dismissed, and Jack continues his slanderous and libelous accusations. So this could just be another one in the long trail of Jack's untruthful remarks towards Brian.
I
So
feel
would they
like
take-
only like 12 people are going to understand any of this, and it's
Well,
all
I don't
gold
want to
for them.
explain. All right. So the
That's
Genesis.
good. No. We can move on. Let's move on to Marvel Champions Monthly.
All right,
So
Marvel
what-
Champions Monthly. They got the steal in the first round, and now coming back to them, they were going to have a fantastic pick here because they were either going to have some assortment of Black Panther, Iron Man, or Captain Marvel, and none of those are bad. All of them are great in this position. I think Captain Marvel is the best one, and that's what they were able to take. So now they've got Captain America and Captain Marvel. That's a very strong pairing. I've played with those two together. They're really awesome, and I think Captain America can basically smooth over the areas that Captain Marvel maybe isn't always successful with. Like, she's not necessarily the strongest thwarter, and he can just handle that while she just gears up to do like big damage swings, big consistent damage swings. So that's a very strong pick there. Although it is the first Captain Marvel, so it's not necessarily the strongest Captain Marvel pick, because someone higher up is still going to get to take her. Now, moving to the Jedi Trials at 3 to pair with Black Widow, they went with Black Panther, so they got a theme there, I guess. Again, it's like Black Panther's a solid pick here. None of these characters that have gone, the Iron Mans, the Thors, and the Black Panthers, none of them are bad. This is the one area, though, where I thought they could have been more aggressive and more interesting and kind of thrown a monkey wrench into the draft. This is obviously the very safe pick between either Black Panther or Captain Marvel. Either of those two are pretty safe. They could have taken an aspect here. They could have started the run on the aspect taking. They could have taken leadership. And I think what taking leadership here would have done for them is it would have forced a panic attack moment from Twin Suns and the San Francisco, the 40 winners. I can't say that full name. I think it would have caused a run on leadership. I think they would have taken leadership as their next two picks. And then I think coming back, Jedi Trials still would have ended up with Black Panther, but they also would have had leadership. I don't know if that was necessarily what they were cited on, but I thought it could have been an interesting spanner thrown into the mix of the draft. But Black Panther's the safe pick there, so it makes sense. Now we do have a bit of a spanner here. You would expect maybe the last Captain Marvel to go to be paired with the Twin Sons of Titan Black Widow, but here they went leadership. Is it a little off the beaten path? Yes, but I think it is a very safe pick because here's what's going to happen. Since there are 3 leaderships available, they know that by taking leadership here, they're either going to get Captain Marvel when it comes back around, or they're going to get a second leadership. That's just going to be what happens, because either the San Francisco 40 winners are going to take double leadership, or they're going to take leadership and likely Captain Marvel. And if they don't take Captain Marvel and they take a flyer pick, then more the better for the Twin Sons. So it was an interesting pick, and it's definitely a gambit, but I don't think it was a Hail Mary type move. And then here, the 40 winners, they just get a pick dropped into their laps. They picked Captain America first with the first pick, and then in the last pick of the second round, they get Captain Marvel, who arguably would be the 3rd strongest hero in the game. And they just get her end of the second round. It's a travesty.
Can I?
Do you guys agree?
Yeah. Can I interject something here quickly?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the first 2 scheme leagues that we've done, I picked first and Scott picked second, right?
Yeah.
So 1 and 2. Both times it went Captain America, Captain Marvel. Both times.
Yeah.
So just throwing that out there.
It's she's
I think Captain Marvel's in the Black Widow. I put them kind of pretty close neck and neck. Very different play styles. Pretty close.
Yeah.
I actually think Iron Man's better than you do.
I think Iron Man in Heroic may be a little worse.
I think Iron Man's one of the only heroes that can swing hard enough in Heroic, push it to the win. But yeah, building the suit is a risk.
But yeah, getting Captain Marvel at this position's a steal, especially because they're picking next, and none of the aspects have been taken, so you're getting to run a Captain Marvel leadership deck. And Captain Marvel leadership is fantastic because she has the resources to pump all of those allies out on the board.
I agree with.
She
is
can do
the best.
Yeah, she's the best as
pick.
far as that. She can even if you wanted to get cheeky and run an actual Avengers deck, since Spider-Woman is an Avenger, you can do that. So she is probably the best pure leadership character. just from the standpoint of like what she can leverage as far as leadership. So she is the perfect pick end of second round when you know your next pick can be leadership. Lo and behold, the next pick's leadership. It's like they're on auto draft. Like that's no offense to the team. They're taking what's available to them, but they're not having to put too much thought into these picks, which is, fine, but sucks. Now we've got the interesting part. We've got 2 leaderships taken. Are the Twin Sons of Titan going to go with another hero to round out, or are they going to go with another aspect? And they went with another aspect. They went with leadership. Tommy had texted me about this like earlier. Like, is he crazy for taking leadership twice? And I guess you and Shane decided you were going to be crazy and take leadership twice. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I thought it was partially just to like hate draft the whole rest of the league. I was like, I just got to take leadership off the table for everybody else. And I knew who we were going to get as our second hero, and I knew I liked them with leadership. So
hey, that's fair. I mean, 2 leaderships, an interesting thing. You are at the point of the card pool where maybe there's not enough allies to really like run leadership and not have too much like overlap as far as what you guys can play. But there are enough that it's approaching doable, I think.
Yeah, we're like right on the cusp of doable for that, and it's not easy to make it work. But we've made it like the decks haven't been terrible.
Yeah,
far.
I think it's like a few packs away. There's going to be a point where like that's just going to be a fantastic deck because you just have like, all right, you take these 6 allies, I'll take these 6 allies, and our decks are complete. They might be the same sphere, but they're completely separated from each other. And then moving along, we've got Jedi Trials, who have taken Black Widow and Black Panther so far, taking Aggression. Aggression is a super strong aspect when paired with Black Panther, so I think it's very smart of them in this position with where they're at to take Aggression here, because I think it's unlikely that looking at the draft, I would have thought it unlikely that they would get a shot at Aggression with their last pick, so I think securing it here is their best bet. So it's a fantastic pick at that point. Then we've got your Marvel Champions monthly podcast. So Captain America, Captain Marvel. Now they just need kind of solid aspect picks. They've got the same lineup as the 40 winners, but the 40 winners are going to have leadership. So it is going to be a little bit of a weaker lineup. So I think they just had to sight in on some things that they knew they wanted to run. They went with protection here. Captain America is great in protection. The healing certainly helps in these heroic games where you can just take a lot of damage. It works really well in it. So it's solid pick. Can't really say anything wrong about it. And then you've got the catch-up lads. They're just screwed no matter what they do. They have Thor. They went with Justice. I don't think that's a bad pick. I think that's actually probably the best pick they can make here. They need something to deal with the fact that Iron Man's going to leave some threat on the board, and if he doesn't get suited up correctly quickly, you need some way to get some additional threat off of the table, and Thor doesn't give you that, so they need a Justice. And in reality, they're basically getting their choice of what 2 aspects they want, because there's almost no situation in which maybe discard to reroll goes the same aspects twice with their picks. Moving to discard to reroll, they took protection. Works perfectly fine. It's great with Iron Man. They're going to get their next aspect pick right after this, so basically they're picking whatever aspects they want. So they went with protection and aggression, and those are 2 premier aspects with the heroes that they've got. So they've got themselves sitting as pretty as they can. But again, as the last pick in the draft, they are in a little bit of a weaker position because of what we spoke about earlier. Ketchup lads coming back. We've got protection. That's whatever. I don't think that's, it's good with Iron Man, I guess. Gives him the extra energy barriers. Maybe he'll get in the suit a little quicker. Works. Marvel Champions monthly podcast, finishing up with Justice. Clearly, they cited it on this. They decided to not go with aggro, which I'd argue is probably second strongest aspect in the game right now. So that's a little bit of a curious pick. It's actually kind of surprising to me that aggro is not taken off the table. But this looks like what they wanted to go with their Captain America, Captain Marvel, and protection. And we've got the Jedi Trials finishing up their lineup with a Justice pick. This makes sense because they have Black Widow, and this is obviously giving you access to the most preparation cards. So from that angle, it definitely makes sense how this could have snuck through. But this does present a very interesting situation where this guarantees the San Francisco 40 schemer winner, whatever's, aggression. Because the Twin Sons of Titan have already taken 2 aspects, and now they have to backfill with a character, and they go with Spider-Man. Spider-Man, as the second to last pick of the draft, is a very interesting pick. We've played him before with leadership. He is actually pretty good in leadership because he has a decent resource generating ability, and he has some like tech cards, and then he just throws out web kicks, which are just a solid damage effect. So I think the Twin Sons of Titan ended up with a pretty decent lineup, and they definitely knew that by not taking a character until the 4th round, they'd still have some really good characters available to them. And like I said, Thor would have been available in the 4th round. What are you doing, ketchup lads? And then finally, the auto pick team gets aggression. So arguably, I'd say leadership and aggression are probably the 2 strongest aspects in my mind right now. There's some heroes that don't play necessarily as well with aggression, but Captain Marvel and Captain America do. And they somehow ended up with leadership and aggression.
Yeah, that's by far the most absurdly good draft you could have.
Yes.
Yeah,
Drop it like it's hot.
Killed it.
You get the A+ grade from me,
Yeah,
and I think Scott. And,
it is the highest grade just because like every pick is essentially like the highest grade pick that you could expect in that slot. Like if you were grading those picks, you'd have to say that all of them were like Captain America's the no-brainer, Captain Marvel's a steal, Leadership's a no-brainer, and Aggro's a steal. So you've got 2 no-brainers and 2 steals. So you're going to end up with probably the strongest draft. So they are what I would say like the favorites coming out of the draft. But then again, there are some teams that clearly had an idea of exactly what they wanted, and that's what they went for. So hey, they could come out of that pretty good. Then we have our Gambit pick with the Twin Sons of Titan trying to make the double leadership work. Can they do it? Maybe. Is it the fact that maybe Spider-Man maybe it needed to be like if you got Black Widow and Captain Marvel, maybe the double leadership could have worked, but you couldn't get Black Widow and Captain Marvel with where they were drafting at. Were you guys happy with what you drafted?
Yeah,
Respective teams.
I was thrilled, but I was outsmarting myself more than anything else.
I think the Ketchup Lads with the Thor pick threw a big monkey wrench in anything because they are why Captain Marvel ended up falling to the 40 winners.
Yep. I agree with that. When I saw that I was picking 6th, I had in my head the heroes I wanted, and I basically got in my head what I wanted for where I was picking.
I think in that slot you could you knew exactly what would be, you knew relatively speaking what would be available to you, and you knew that you'd be able to get what you were thinking of getting, provided you weren't being unrealistic and thinking Cap was going to drop to you at 6.
Right.
So, putting these draft leagues together, like I know it's tough for you guys to decide on like the format of the draft because you're having to balance out the hero lineups that are available. Since you're having to run 2 different heroes here, you kind of have to like make it a little deeper. And then the aspects, we're always going, well, not always, but for right now we're stuck at 4 aspects, so there's not necessarily like a lot of variety to be had there. And I think going with 3 of each, while I understand it just because of the amount of picks that you needed to have, it did make it so people could essentially pick what they wanted. So I was thinking, and this is for you guys to mull over moving forward, what if next draft league you have however many versions of each aspect that you need to have to fill out the number of players that you have, but an aspect cannot be picked again until all aspects have been picked at least once.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. I honestly think if we just had 18, it would have been better.
I think if you had 8 teams, it would have been better, but I'm just going with ways to get around the fact that it can be hard to get eight teams that are actually going to play their games together.
16 people. Yeah, it's not easy.
So I think having it so like each aspect can be picked as many times as it needs to be picked, but you can't pick one again until everything's been drafted. I think that'll lead to a lot of like interesting gamesmanship in the picks.
That is interesting.
Someone might take a flyer on an aspect early, and then people are playing the game of, like, what am I going to get stuck with here if I take a character? Like, what's going to fall to me, and, like, how is that going to work out? So I think that may be an avenue to explore for the next one if we're looking to interject a little bit more, like, oh shit, what actually happened in this draft type aspect to it. We're trying to make this more like Draft Day, the Kevin Costner movie with Chadwick Boseman. Yeah, I'm just saying.
We can't always expect somebody to pick Thor with the 5th pick in the draft.
I loved it. It made the medical emergency.
It's
great.
It's it happens, I guess.
Has Brian played a game of Marvel Champions since you guys did the stream that one night? So he's never played Thor, so he doesn't know.
Oh, he did play one since then.
He did play Thor, yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's played Thor.
Yeah, he actually did play Thor.
So he knows. So he's clearly got a vendetta against Jack, I guess. I don't know. Makes
I don't
sense.
know. All I know is
is
Shane and I are 0-2. We lost.
Ooh, I didn't see the records.
Yes. We're 0-2.
Well, hey,
your
gambit failed, and you should feel bad.
Yes. We played into the Wrecking Crew, Heroic 1, and we left Wrecker with 12 life left, and all the rest dead, and we just couldn't pull through. There were 6 acceleration tokens on the scheme.
Now, so I will say this, like, now thinking about your record and then thinking about where you're drafting, I think the pick of Black Widow as the second pick was a really problematic one because you can't guarantee that you're going. It's rough. You're kind of in like a little no man's land here because you can't guarantee you're necessarily going to see leadership, but
definitely not.
You can't guarantee you're going to see leadership and also see justice. You know what I mean? If you wanted to pair justice with Black Widow, because someone probably is going to snake that after you, especially the other Black Widow team. So it's a little bit of a rough pick, and apparently, you're on the skids.
Yeah, we're and the claw game we got blown out at the end of.
Hey, guess what? You should have taken Captain America.
I don't think it would have mattered for the claw game. It might have helped for Wrecking Crew, but the claw game we had every member of the Masters of Evil plus a weapons runner out by the second villain. It was pretty brutal.
That is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Not too many games have been played. Looking at the ones that have, I think
Marvel Champions Monthly, big swinging.
Like I said, they got one of the steals of the draft with Captain America at 4. So, I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if the 2 top teams are the Captain America, Captain Marvel teams.
Yeah, those are good pairings.
I think they're both going to do pretty well. I think the discard reroll with their setup, since they got to basically like guarantee what they were going to get, I think they're going to do pretty good.
And you got to tie Handlebar down there, Banana. Make them play some games.
Jedi Trials already has 1 loss in the books, but I think they can pull out the rest of their games. And the Ketchup Lads are going to lose. They're not going to win a single game. If they win a game, I'd be surprised. If they're like competitive in 2 games, I'd be surprised.
I want you to do this all again, but as a Mel Kiper voice.
I actually don't know. I need to watch like Mel Kiper videos to come up with a voice. My only good impression is old-timey boxing announcer. Tommy's heard that one.
Molasses Mike.
So, all right, story time.
Oh God.
We had a guy that played at our local, and he's the type of player that plays pretty slow. He's not the slowest player that we've ever seen. We've actually seen others that are slower, but as far as like, and he plays in tournaments, and he's a decent player. So like, as far as like competitive players playing in a tournament, he is probably the slowest person we've seen. We've got other friends that play slower.
I mean, he would make top cuts at like Gen Con. Like he was a very good player.
But he is slow as Molasses, hence his nickname. So we nicknamed him Molasses Mike, and to his credit, he steered into the skid and he just embraced the nickname. And so when we would announce pairings at our weekly local events, I would enter into a little little speech announcing him to the ring, and it would go a little something like this. I gotta take a drink before I do it. And in this corner, from parts unknown, we have the Sultan of Slow, the Kaiser of Crawl, the Pontiff of Pondering, Molasses, Mike McIntosh.
We've reached a new low here.
What is happening?
I don't know.
It took me a good day to come up with Pontiff of Pondering. I had to figure out a third alliterative leadership thing and thinking. I was very proud of it.
Pontiff of Pondering is what Brian's nickname should be when he's thinking about drafting Thor 5th.
No, there's no thought going in there. He's like the janitor
colonel
of Pondering at that point. I don't know.
Coronary.
Yep, he's something or other. The Kaiser of Ketchup, but I just use Kaiser. What other K names? Caesar's not alliterative. I'll figure it out. We'll get him a billing too.
All right.
Do you have any other thoughts on the Scheme League 3's in Season 3? Teamwork makes the scheme work.
Maybe with the heroes, if you were to bucket them into certain, if you were to do maybe a
salary.
A salary cap.
Is that where you're going?
That type of thing. I forget what that type of draft is called.
An auction draft.
An auction draft. Yeah, you could go. Doing that actually might be a pretty interesting thing. You could get Johnny Williams in there to handicap everything because he knows how those drafts work.
Yeah, but we'd need a neutral third party, I think, to come up with our handy. Like to say what is priced at what.
Yeah, I mean you don't necessarily. I mean you need someone not in the draft, but I don't think you need anyone particularly neutral because it's not like anyone's going to gain an advantage by the gradings.
Yeah.
Another thing I think too in the future, once the hero pool deepens, is rotate through the heroes, so not all the heroes are available in the draft.
You could definitely you could do a Island of Misfit Toys draft.
Yeah, where it's She-Hulk and Brian
Thor.
And Thor.
Spider-Man is your best character. You'd need a pretty deep hero pool. If you wanted to get 8 heroes that is Spider-Man is the Captain America of those 8 heroes, you'd probably need 4 more heroes that are at or below Spider-Man's level. So that's actually going to take a little bit to get to because Hawkeye and Spider-Woman don't look like that.
Yeah, they don't. But I mean, the more heroes that come out, then
Hulk
we're not going to have
Hulk is already down there, I think. So you need 3 more.
Hulk is. Do you think Hulk is as bad as She-Hulk or Thor?
I think Hulk is no better than Spider-Man.
I think Hulk could be good, but that's just my opinion.
I think Hulk's going to really struggle in some solo encounters.
For sure. He's going to struggle in solo. But that doesn't... I mean, his grade isn't solely based on solo.
No, it's not. But
I think he could be a role player.
I think he can... Well, yeah. He's a little stun exposed. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Some turns he's just going to one-shot whole villain phases.
Oh, definitely. I think four.
Yeah, I think you're selling him short, Scott.
All right, we'll see. It's coming out soon.
I know the aggression cards he comes with are giving aggression huge boost.
Yeah, that's why. Well, aggression keeps just getting I think aggression keeps. I mean, some of the leadership cards are kind of crazy, but I think aggression just keeps getting the most solid additions as far as across the board.
Yeah,
that preparation card is amazing, and then even the leadership card that comes with that comes with Hulk
is that Inspiring Presence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's stupid.
I got to look it up, but I haven't seen some of the.
It readies a hero, or it readies an ally and heals an ally.
It heals, heal 1 damage to an ally, ready that ally.
Okay, I mean that's good for especially for Hulk. He kind of needs that. That's
I'll find it.
But like She-Hulk is a good hero. Sentry can be pretty cool. Dropkick is actually pretty good for Hulk.
There's good ones.
Sentry was our spoiler, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, Inspiring Presence is a one-cost event. Play only if you're an Avenger. Hero action, heal 1 damage for an ally, and ready it.
Yeah, I think that's been it.
Yeah, they don't realize how good allies are. They still don't. I mean, they still don't at this point in design, which is not... All of these cards were designed before this game was released, probably, to be perfectly honest. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say everything up to the big box, probably.
Yeah. Maybe the core set might have been out for a second, but like you're not at a point where they've gotten any feedback beyond their internal testing and their external play testers. So whatever their mindset was at designing the core or during that time has not been disturbed through these packs by the larger sample size of people playing with it broadly. And they love allies. Allies,
it's a cooperative
allies,
game,
allies.
so that is what they have going.
It is.
Yeah.
But, you don't necessarily want to make everything training wheels. And because like heroic mode is a great addition to dealing with that problem. But also heroic mode can be too random.
It can.
You just like sometimes you just don't even get through the first turn.
Especially solo.
Yeah, which is a little rough because it's like you didn't do anything right or wrong. It's just that's the 2 cards that came off of the top of the deck, and you're done.
I think they know that, and I think just from what I know from hearing like Caleb and Michael talk on other podcasts, like they know that's a concern, and I would expect that to be addressed in the future. But like the heroic mode. That stuff like kind of came out right before the shutdown stuff happened.
Yeah.
And Caleb said like, we need something out now to kind of address this difficulty problem that people are having, and the heroic mode was their solution to that.
I think heroic mode is a lot of fun, so I'm glad that they decided to do it. And I like someone could have come up with that on their own and been like, oh, I'm just gonna do additional encounter cards. I'm sure it was a suggestion people had made, but like I prefer company initiated things. That way, like
standardization.
You can talk to other people about it, and you're all talking about you're all talking the same language. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my just point was I think I would expect something in the future of a different difficulty that's not heroic that kind of addresses the random.
Yeah.
How random
I think
it is.
It could be accomplished through a modular set that has cards that start out on the table. You know what I mean? So you're not having to rely on necessarily the randomness of a heroic mode or the randomness of the deck itself, just with harder encounter cards, but cards that specifically tweak certain things with the villain that just make them harder, and you just kind of start them out on the table. Whether that's every time the villain takes damage, it then gains tough or something silly like that, or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
like a condition card.
Yeah, like a condition card
or
that just starts on the table.
Yeah. Kind of like the side scheme, custom side scheme that starts the game, right?
Exactly.
It's for people that like to put their genitalia in a vice.
Have you seen that?
I thought this was a family-friendly show, man.
I didn't use any improper language.
Did you ever?
The imagery, damn.
Did you see our custom side scheme that we made?
No, I haven't seen it. Tommy hasn't sent it to me. Why don't I have it?
It's called.
I don't have it.
It's on the Hall of Heroes LCG.com. It's called Always Stay Scheming. And it has our old Doctor Doom picture as the picture, and the text on it says each side scheme in play gains a hazard and acceleration icon, even if they already have one printed on it. And then it says, and then there's a force interrupt when the first player's first turn begins. If there is not a side scheme in play, discard cards from the encounter deck until you discard a side scheme, then reveal that side scheme. And then the flavor text is, let's see what this button does.
Who designed this card?
I did.
Did you do it just so that you could put the word side scheme on there more than as many times as possible?
Yes.
So you basically you pimped your ride with side scheme. I'm gonna put side schemes in your side schemes with side schemes.
Schemeception is what just happened.
BananaCrapshoot is now exhibit.
I've never played with it.
I can tell. 0 testing. Did you get anyone to play test it for you?
No. I was just like, I'm going to make this custom environment card, and we're going to get it up there. I was inspired by the Critical Encounters custom environment, which was like, you always include the expert set, even if you're not playing expert. Mm-hmm. All standard, all encounter cards have at least one boost pip, even if there's not one printed. And the guard keyword is always attached to elite minions. You can't cancel Shadows of the Past, and crisis icons prevent removing threat from other crisis schemes. So like, I took the, man, they got their own stuff going on, like, let's make something ridiculous.
Nice.
So, yep, each side scheme gains a hazard and acceleration icon.
That's crazy. You're a madman, man.
But hey, instead of heroic, you can try that, I guess.
You can. If you want.
That's not that dissimilar.
It's not.
No, the encounter card thing. The acceleration icon is. Well, wasn't Team Covenant doing like heroic before heroic came out on their streams? They were always dealing an extra encounter.
Yeah, they were just dealing an extra card.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where they got it from.
Quite possible.
Anything else on Scheme League Season 3?
No.
Ketchup lads are silly.
So. Yeah, two players is fun. The game is funner with friends, in my opinion.
Tommy doesn't have friends.
I have people that want to buy my friendship, Scott.
Yeah. That's valid.
Successfully.
Hey,
have them.
Just saying.
Scott, you got anything else you want to talk about tonight?
Nah, I think I've interjected all of my like randomness that I had to give. I'm not going to give the greatest moment in American history. We covered that on the other Philip My Brother podcast.
We should plug the Marvel Strike Force Alliance. If you
yeah, we need new players. Didn't we like boot people today?
No, that just naturally boots people if they don't love.
Yes.
But check out Marvel Champions Monthly podcast. They have a Marvel Strike Force Alliance and a channel in their Discord for that. If anybody plays that game, head over there and talk to Kennedy, and he'll hook you up.
And even if you're like you just want to start playing the game, because some of us only recently started.
Mm-hmm.
True. Mm-hmm. But people are going all in, man.
Yeah, like you.
I'm all in. Now I'm trying to level Sinister 6 up, and I only have 3 of them. So it's like, because I guess you need Sinister 6 to unlock 2 of the legendaries.
Invisible Woman and Sherry.
Yeah, see, so I don't really care about Sherry.
Sherry could be any Spider-Verse, but that's like, you do Sinister, yeah.
So, I want that Invisible Woman, so.
It's a fun, I don't even know what this type of game is called.
It's a turn-based RPG.
Yeah, but like there's a specific type of there's a specific like name for this. So if you've played like Galaxy of Heroes, it's the Star Wars version.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. One last thing. I guess Tommy already did. What we were gonna say, like, we're gonna start like shouting out one content creator at the end of our podcast of like stuff we like what they're doing, and this time we wanted to shout out Marvel Champions Monthly because they put out a great podcast. They do lots of videos. They got the Strike Force Alliance going on. They're doing articles, and
they're probably going to win your Scheme League.
Yeah, they're winning right now, Season 3. Actually, yep. Kennedy Hawk was one of the runner-up Season 1, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Technically third.
We have
but he did set the pace. He was the one that like finished his games to begin with, so he was like the bar that we had to keep up with.
But you guys didn't know what his well, you're talking about
just initially, because he did his regular season games before Jack and I did. No, I think I finished my game first in the tiebreaker.
Yeah, you might have. You did.
But yeah, Marvel Champions Monthly. Check them
Check
out.
them out. They're good people over there.
Most
Great
of
for
them,
the game.
except for the guy that likes protection cards.
Dude, protection. I love.
Tommy
Me and
played
Americano are
nothing
protection
but
brothers.
protection. For Tommy and I played a game of Captain America and Black Panther, both protection, just to see how much damage we could do with Retaliate.
We did a
And the
lot.
ans- The answer was a lot. We still lost, but
Yeah,
we did a lot.
we didn't die.
Didn't die. We just couldn't do anything. I think it can work now that there's more protection cards out.
Maybe.
I think once Doctor
Sorting it.
Strange, comes out, I think.
Doctor Strange is for all.
But you got anything else, Tommy?
No, I'm good. Thank you for the nice sound bites.
I snuck a couple in. You guys couldn't hear them.
Are you ever not going
Oh,
to
what,
fall
you have
for
like
that?
a thing?
I got-
the soundboard of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
So, but it's not a great one. So you guys can't hear them, but the listeners can. So randomly, I've been sneaking them in.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah. So if you guys don't have anything else, we'll close it out here.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for being here, Scott. Thank you for doing the grades on our draft. We appreciate it.
If you get more teams, it's going to be harder to do, because then I'm going to have to talk more.
Yeah. We still need to have our season 1 winner on. But he keeps breaking.
Keeps ducking you.
Yeah, he keeps breaking quarantine and doing stuff. And Tommy's laptop just crashed, so it's just us.
All right, cool. Well, that happens.
So thanks for being here, Scott.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm here for when Tommy has technical difficulties. I got to build him the computer that I gave him that's sitting in his house unbuilt.
Oh, nice. He's just got a box of scraps there, so like Iron Man, he's got to build it.
I gutted my computer and replaced the motherboard, the processor, and the memory, and then I just gave him that. And
I gotcha.
I'm probably going to replace my GPU and my power supply soon. So I basically just am going to give him a computer.
I got you. He
Yeah.
just needs a case.
I got to bribe him. I might even replace the case, and I'll just give him a case.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, thanks for being here, Scott. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
For Tommy of Titan, I'm BananaCrapshoot. Stay scheming, champions. Then I'm going to play.
Dance off, bro. Me and you.
But that's it, man. That's the podcast.
Cool.
So thanks for being here.
Gotta get my blitzes in before midnight.
Yeah, I know. Is that the